It began not with a bang, but with a rumor. May 23, 2017, Marawi City. What was supposed to be a surgical arrest warrant for a high-value target spiraled instantly into a full-scale invasion. This wasn't a skirmish, it was a trap 5 years in the making. Within hours, the black flag of ISIS was flying over the city's heart. The Philippine military, trained for decades in jungle warfare, suddenly found themselves staring into a concrete hell. The enemy wasn't hiding in the trees. They were entrenched in basements, reinforced concrete mosques and sniper nests overlooking every major intersection. The initial casualty reports were catastrophic. Confusion reigned. And in the command center, the realization hit cold and hard. This wasn't a police action anymore. The general in charge was staring at a map that was turning red by the minute. He had to make a choice that would define the next 5 months. Send his men into a meat grinder to save face, or rewrite the book on urban warfare while the world watched. The siege had begun. To understand the gravity of the decision aimed at the commander, you have to understand the battlefield. Marawi wasn't just a city, it was a fortress of reinforced concrete. The Maute Group had prepared rat holes, tunnels, and pre-sighted kill zones. They punched holes in the walls between houses, mouse holes, allowing them to move through entire city blocks without ever stepping onto the street. Our soldiers, brave as they were walking into a 360-degree ambush. Every window was an eye. Every rooftop was a high ground. The conventional doctrine of shock and awe was useless here because the enemy was using the city's own infrastructure against the liberators. The casualty count in the first week was demoralizing. Tanks were stopped by RPGs fired from elevated positions. The commander saw the reports, men dying in the open, pinned down by sniper fire from invisible enemies. He realized that fighting this like a conventional war was suicide. He needed a new strategy, and he needed it yesterday.
But the tactical nightmare was only half the problem. The true weight on the command's shoulders was the human shield. Hundreds of civilians were trapped in the kill zone. The enemy knew this. They herded civilians into mosques and basements, using them as bargaining chips and bullet catchers. If the military flattened the city with airstrikes to kill the terrorists, they would kill the very people they swore to protect. The public pressure was mounting. "Why is it taking so long?" the media asked. "Why haven't you liberated Marawi?" The commander had to ignore the noise. He knew that a hasty assault meant a massacre. This was the first pivot point, the decision to slow down, to prioritize rescue over conquest. It was a choice that frustrated the public, but saved lives. He ordered his men to hold fire unless they had positive identification. In a war zone where everything that moved could kill you, this order required a discipline of steel.
The geography of Marawi is defined by the Agus River. To retake the city center, the military had to cross the bridges. The most infamous was Mapandi. It became the deadliest choke point of the war. The enemy had pre-sighted heavy machine guns on the bridge. Crossing it was a death sentence. Early attempts to rush the bridge resulted in devastating losses. Armor was stripped, bodies lay in the open. The commander looked at the map and realized brute force was failing. This was the moment that defined his legacy, the refusal to send men into a meat grinder for the sake of optics. He pulled back. He regrouped. He decided to fight a war of inches. Instead of rushing the bridge, they would smoke out the positions overlooking it. It wasn't glorious. It was slow, grinding, and painful. But it was the only way to cross without losing an entire battalion. This tactical pause was the difference between a defeat and a victory. Necessity is the mother of invention, and in Marawi, invention meant survival. The decision was made to change the loadout. The jungle camouflage was useless against gray concrete. Soldiers started improvising. They reinforced their vehicles with wooden planks and discarded cardboard to trigger RPGs prematurely. Free Wi-Fi armor, they jokingly called it. But it worked. The command authorized the use of tear gas, specialized breaching tools, and thermal drones. They integrated the Air Force like never before. The FA-50 jets, previously criticized, became the surgeon's scalpel, dropping bombs within meters of friendly troops to crack open the enemy bunkers. This decision to trust the technology, to trust the pilots, and to integrate air-to-ground coordination at a squad level changed the momentum. The hunters became the hunted. The military was no longer reacting. They were dictating the terms of the engagement. The battle for Marawi eventually devolved into a sniper's duel. This was the most psychological phase of the siege. A single enemy sniper could pin down a company for days. The commander faced a critical decision: rush the nests and lose men, or deploy counter-snipers and wait. He chose patience. It was a game of cat and mouse played through 4x scopes. Our Scout Ranger and Light Reaction Regiment snipers, some of the best in the world, went to work. They would lie motionless for 12, 24 hours, urinating in their suits, waiting for a single shadow to move. This phase wasn't about volume of fire, it was about precision. The decision to prioritize counter-sniping slowed the advance again, drawing criticism from armchair generals, but it systematically blinded the enemy. By taking out the enemy's eyes, the command allowed the infantry to move forward. No command legacy is without its scars, and in Marawi, the scar was deep. In the heat of close-quarters combat, with maps outdated by the minute, tragedy struck. An airstrike meant for the enemy hit our own men. 10 soldiers killed. It was the darkest day of the siege. The morale in the camp plummeted. The commander faced his toughest test yet. To continue airstrikes was to risk more errors. To stop them was to hand the advantage back to the enemy. He had to stand before his grieving men, shoulder the blame, and yet give the order to keep the planes flying. It was a decision made with a heavy heart, but a clear mind. He knew that without air support, the casualty list would triple. He tightened the protocols, tripled the verification process, but he did not ground the jets.
Verified.
That resilience, that ability to push through the fog of error to find the final push.
By August, the battle lines had compressed around the Grand Mosque. It wasn't just a building, it was the spiritual center of the city, and the enemy was using it as their main fortress and hostage holding area. They knew the military hesitated to destroy a holy site. The commander's decision here was surgical. He ordered a complete encirclement, cutting off supply lines, starving them out rather than blowing them up. It was a siege within a siege. Soldiers fought room by room, clearing surrounding buildings to isolate the mosque. The restraint showed here was remarkable. In any other war, that building would have been leveled, but the order was clear: preserve the mosque if possible, save the hostages first. When they finally breached the perimeter, the enemy had fled, leaving behind booby traps and IEDs. The retaking of the mosque was the symbolic turning point. The black flag came down. With the mosque secured, the enemy was pushed into a tiny sector near Lake Lenaro. The main battle area had shrunk to just a few hectares. But a wounded animal is the most dangerous. The terrorist leaders, Hapilan and Maute, were cornered. The fighting became desperate. It was hand-to-hand combat in the ruins. The commander's strategy shifted from constrict to finish. He concentrated all available firepower into this final killbox. The use of tear gas and acoustic devices to flush them out was intensified. Escape routes across the lake were sealed by the Navy. It was a total blockade. The decision was no longer about saving the city infrastructure. It was about ending the threat. Every soldier knew the end was near. The intensity of the firefights in these final days surpassed everything that came before. October 16, 2017, the breakthrough. Intelligence pinpointed the location of Isnilon Hapilon and Omar Maute. They were trying to escape before dawn. The commander gave the green light for the final intercept. This wasn't an airstrike, this was personal. It was the troops on the ground, the ones who had bled for 5 months, who closed in. A mechanized unit spotted the movement. The firefight was brief but violent. When the dust settled, the leaders of the siege were dead. The photos of their bodies circulated through the command chain, confirming what everyone hoped. The head of the snake had been cut off. The decision to persevere, to endure the criticism, to trust the slow grind over the quick fix had paid off. The siege was effectively over. The following day, President Duterte declared Marawi liberated. But as the smoke cleared, the cost became visible. The city was a skeleton. Ground Zero looked like Warsaw in 1944. But the decision to clear house to house saved thousands of hostages. The military lost 165 brave souls. The enemy lost nearly 1,000. But the victory wasn't just in the numbers, it was in the evolution of the Philippine army. They entered Marawi as jungle fighters and left as urban warriors. The command legacy wasn't about the buildings destroyed, it was about the adaptation. They proved that ISIS could be defeated in their own fortress. They showed that an Asian military could execute complex, joint force urban operations without foreign boots on the ground. The ruins would be rebuilt, but the lessons learned in blood were permanent. The Marawi Siege is studied today in military academies around the world. It stands as a masterclass in modern counterterrorism. The general's decision to slow the operational tempo, to integrate airstrikes with close quarters combat, and to prioritize the information war shaped the modern AFP. It birthed new doctrines, new equipment, and a new confidence. The legacy of that command is a military that is no longer underestimated. They faced a medieval ideology armed with modern weapons and defeated it with grit and adaptation. Marawi was a crucible. It burned away the old ways and forged a steel that remains the backbone of the nation's defense today. The city may have fallen, but the spirit of the Filipino soldier stood tall. And that is the true legacy of the siege. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe our channel for more upcoming contents like this. Sokran.